I'm Happy Oasis with the Raw Spirit Community News. It's an honor to be interviewing one of the foremost long-term, full-time GMO researchers and advocates for labeling and banning GMOs, Jeffrey Smith. He's also the producer of Genetic Roulette, a documentary which clearly cites some of the health and environmental perils of GMOs, not to mention GMO's role in economic, diplomatic, and interspecies destruction. Jeffrey, it's a pleasure to be with you here today, even though you're Skyping from across the country. It seems that the grassroots groundswell of anti-GMO sentiment has at last reached a critical mass, with a surge of tens of millions of Americans now demanding GMO labeling, as well as more than 1 billion human beings around the world requiring the same. The last time we spoke in the spring, Jeffrey, you had recommended that we could be of greatest assistance by supporting the proposed GMO labeling legislation, which is happening in Washington State, as well as many other states concurrently. But it looked like because Washington State is very ecologically oriented, that this is the best bet for the labeling to go through. I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on this?
I think you're very right in that we are fast approaching a tipping point. I think we've actually achieved the tipping point in the natural food sector. When Whole Foods president was interviewed in March, he told the reporter, when a product becomes non-GMO product project verified, it increases sales by 15 to 30%. Hundreds and hundreds of products are now enrolled and waiting for verification in the non-GMO project, with more than 10,000 already verified. In fact, non-GMO labels were the fastest growing category of foods in 2012. So we are seeing, millions of people seeking non-GMO foods. This has resulted in a demand for labeling, which is our right. More than 64 countries either ban GMOs outright or require labeling. And our biggest opportunity now at this time is the ballot initiative in Washington State, which is absolutely critical. But there's something going on in parallel, and that is what we call battle for market share, which is in the conventional food sector. As I say, we've already tipped the scales in the natural food sector. And any day now, we're going to see a conventional brand announce that they are non-GMO project verified. And it's going to sit on the shelf next to a GMO-laden brand leader. That is the start of the stopwatch. If we can drive the sales of that non-GMO brand up, so this is a critical window, the most critical window in the history of anti-GMO activism, at least the 17 years that I've been looking at GMOs.
That's exciting. Recently, Scientific American magazine wrote a feature article that was not very scientific. And it seems that Monsanto and other similar companies are coming to a head and they're doing desperate measures. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, there's a lot of science, quote, scientific magazines and journals which have basically aligned with the biotech industry and abandoned their roots in science. We see peer-reviewed journals publishing junk, coming to the defense of Monsanto, etc., and now the poison has hit Scientific American. This is just par for the course. There's a desperation from the other side. They're pulling in all their chips, so to speak. They've deployed the U.S. State Department overseas. They've deployed farm organizations. Their greatest weakness is our greatest strength, and that is we're at the top of the food chain. But I see that once we've tipped the scales through a tipping point, the other dominoes will fall, because the food companies are simply not aligned so much with Monsanto that they're willing to withstand a drop in profits and market share in order to support a technology which gives them no benefits in the marketplace whatsoever.
What are your thoughts about, one, the Monsanto Protection Act, and two, the new proposed federal bill that would make it illegal for states to pass legislation to support GMO labeling?
Well, this is a strategy by Monsanto to push its federal weight around. They have a lot of control in Congress and in the Obama administration. In fact, the person who was their former attorney, who then became in charge of policy at the FDA in 1992 when the GMO policy was created, Michael Taylor. He's the one that allowed GMOs on the market without any safety studies and without any labeling. Then he became Monsanto's chief lobbyist and vice president. Now he's back as the U.S. food czar under the Obama administration. So in terms of the Monsanto Protection Act, that prevents the courts from telling the USDA, withdraw that GMO because it was approved illegally. They told the USDA to withdraw alfalfa, which was originally introduced some years ago, but they had approved it illegally without evaluating its impact on the environment. So the USDA was forced to stop the approval, and Monsanto had to withdraw it. The Monsanto Protection Act basically says the USDA has to ignore the courts. So in other words, it's challenging even the constitutionality of the balance of powers in order to support Monsanto's profits.
Is there anything else that we can do to help speed up this process of GMO labeling and illegality, completely banning GMOs, hopefully in the near future?
There's a lot we can do. At responsibletechnology.org, first of all, you can sign up for a newsletter where we'll keep you informed on a regular basis of steps you can take. In addition, there's a speaker training program which you can take online. Over 1,000 people have. You can sign up for our Tipping Point Network, which is over 10,000 people who formed community outreach groups, over 100 of them in the United States. We also have a GMO mini summit during non-GMO month, which is October, which I'm going to be interviewing people along with John Robbins from October 25th to 27th. These are free interviews with great speakers like Vandana Shiva, Robin O'Brien, 14-year-old Rachel Parent, many great experts, moms, scientists, advocates. It'll be very important information for people to not only learn themselves, but you can share the link with others. It's a way that you can get others to avoid GMOs. We have a plan now to drive this battle for market share. We want the people who shop in Safeway and Walmart to specifically buy products that say non-GMO so that that big first domino falls and the food companies remove GMOs. So who are the more receptive demographic groups? We know that moms are certainly among them, and we have a major program to bring this information to moms to protect their children. We know that pet owners and horse owners also are in the position of protecting others, and we have a lot of evidence that horses and pets are suffering from genetically engineered feed. We also are going to go to healthcare professionals in a big way, already are, and especially people and professionals in the specific disease groups which we think are related to GMOs. That's why we have this new paper online at glutenandgmos.com, just released, showing how this incredible increase in gluten-related disorders is probably promoted in part by eating GMOs. The wheat itself is not genetically engineered, but when you eat a GMO, if it's causing permeable gut, overgrowth of gut bacteria, suppressed digestive enzymes, damage in the cell walls, as well as immune system sensitivity and response, those are some of the predispositions for gluten-related disorders and celiac disease. And we're also going to approach, and are already approaching, religious people who may think that GMO means God move over. Got it. I know the people in your audience are very serious about food and very serious about health, and they want to share the information with their friends, their family, their community about healthier lifestyles and healthier eating. Is to become a subscriber to Spilling the Beans at responsibletechnology.org. We also have an iPhone application called Shop No GMO. Our most important tool for education is the movie Genetic Roulette, The Gamble of Our Lives, because we found that when people watch that, within an hour and a half, it's a turning point in their digestive life.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for all the deeply important work that you're doing. What is that event called?
It's called the Mini GMO Summit. It's at gmosummit.com. It's the best I've ever seen in terms of a compilation of interviews. I think your audience would love it.
And is that run by John Robbins or by you? Or somebody else?
We're doing it together, the Food Revolution and IRT.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll be in touch. All the best.
All right, take care.
You as well.
You too.
Goodbye.